Well, hello to you, tuberubers and tuberettes alike around the known universe and other places unknown to us. It's a short talk in the park with an old guy, and we kind of know who that would be. I just wanted to kind of drop in and visit with you guys a little bit today. Ain't got nothing going on. It's a Sunday, and it's a little after 5:20, something like that. And just wanted to kind of make video and shoot the breeze with you, let you know what I found out. I thought when you have a conspiracy theory, and the problem with conspiracy theories is that most of them end up being true, and still people are in denial on that, which is weird. But at any rate, and I'll give you an example of that later. I'm not going to wear you out with this. Hey, by the way, how do you like that fancy blue backdrop behind me? It looks pretty classy. What did I do? Go out and buy something? No, I'm sitting at a table outdoors. And it just proved that I'm really in a park, so we're not like sued for malinformation or something like that. The park is deserted today, except for me and that volleyball sitting out there. Went over and I intended to, maybe kick it around a little bit, act like a kid. Get over it. It's a Sunday afternoon, and I just kind of wanted to let you know I heard a sermon today, and it was excellent. I'd like to recommend it to you. Now, I don't honestly recommend sermons from our church very often now, do I? Oh, by the way, we're still off the wagon. And this guy's name was Bruce O'Neill. He came down for the weekend. The church that I'm in right now is in a kind of a process of change and transition and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, he was here to help negotiate traffic or something. I don't really know what's going on. Apparently I haven't been paying attention. But anyway, if you want to hear an excellent sermon, and to me, if it's covenantal structure, it's a central story. There's one Bible story, and it's the story of the God who saves by his infinite power and mercy. And his calling, and so anyway, he begins with Genesis, and so he was ostensibly talking about Psalms, but anyway, you just go watch the sermon and you'll figure it out. But anyway, it's just rock solid good stuff, and it's kind of like you need to put some good food in your body every once in a while. Speaking of that, I went up and visited with a young lady after church. She's one of the few people I know who has what appears to me to be the sense to appreciate the value of a good conspiracy theory. And in other words, chemtrails, are they real? You ask me, I say yes, they are. It's obvious. And yet most people see them and they don't see them. They're just not there. So as an example, I was mentioning my new conspiracy to a guy, and he said, well, yeah, that's only true if there's chemtrails available. So he says this isn't true, but I know it's true. So anyway, the phone wreck story, yeah, okay, you got a new phone, get over it, bub. But the point is that I was sitting at the house last night, and I decided, well, I'm just going to watch a movie and goof off, I probably was sitting there with this darn thing in my hand for probably a good 2.5, 3 hours. I watched a full movie, and by the way, The Day the Earth Stood Still, the remake, we can do without it. But at any rate, the CGI and the phony effects and all that stuff is fantastic. But they forgot the part about telling a story. And they turned it into this weird eco-greenie fest thing. You're kind of like, hi, let me guess, this was sponsored by the DNC? Anyway, never mind that. So at any rate, I do get off the topic here now, don't I? But anyway, I just wanted to visit with you some, and the new conspiracy theory that I'm beginning to circulate involves this phone. I was sitting there watching a movie, and the thing was in my hand for 3 hours. I don't know. I didn't time it. I put it down. I couldn't believe how much my hand hurt, shooting all through my left hand, right in here. I guess you'd say in here. It felt like, oh, what happened? And it was so painful. I got up, had a couple of aspirins in the middle of the night, and I thought, I got to get some sleep here. This thing's driving me nuts. Well, I woke up in the morning. It was still sore and tender, but now it felt more like inflamed, like puffy, like you have an inflammation in there. And I thought, I don't know what I did. And then suddenly it came to me like bling, bling, bling. I remember this. This is a few years ago. There was a lot of people who were worried about 5G rollout, that there was essentially a hazardous aspect to this radiation level. The 5G wavelength is the same wavelength that the military uses as a tactical weapon for like street fighting and stuff. I mean, it's powerful stuff. That frequency, and I don't know what it is in milli microwaves or whatever, but whatever wave function they're at, they've turned that into a weapon. I mean, the military has. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, I remember hearing about this 5 years ago, but am I supposed to go out and buy some kind of Faraday cage for this thing? And, keep it in a lead box or something? It's just like, whoa. And so anyway, I just wanted to pass that on. So I think that I'm going to have to find a whole new strategy about how to handle this phone, which is namely, don't do it. Don't get your hand close. I watched a video, which I thought was rather interesting. And again, I don't know the title. But you can look it up for yourself. There's a lot of information out there. This guy's using a little EMF meter thing, and he's doing just this drive-by thing, and he's just waving it. So the phone is, from my perspective, about here, 18 inches away from my face. So here's the probe. Boop, 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 boop. By the time it's touching the phone, it's going berserk. Well, this thing had been in my hand for hours, and I just thought, wow. And he showed how printers do it, and other types of digital generative circuitry, whatnot. I remember one day, in fact, it was right over yonder. There was a 2-story apartment we were up there working on. And there's a thing called a Wiggy, and you can get a cheap one if you want, and it's just a voltmeter, and all it does is probes and tells you whether you have voltage current present or not. Little light lights up. It doesn't tell you whether you got 110, 220, or 440. It just tells you whether power is present. And so, not the greatest gauge in the world, but anyway, we were up doing a swamp cooler. We know that it's only going to be a 110. There's no way that this thing was ever rigged up with a 220. Okay, so nobody's going to do that. But at any rate, we were probing the wires to find the hot and the neutral and whatnot, boom, 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 and standing on a roof. Well, overhead, in fact, you can see them here. They will give you a tour of my brain. Okay. Stretch it out. Now, do you see them tall poles? Yeah, that's high tension wires passing overhead. Well, that's right here by the park. And so anyhow, by the apartment complex too. It's practically over top. The apartment complex is adjacent to the road in that case. And so the guy brought out his Wiggy. He's standing 3.5 feet away from the swamp cooler. He's nowhere near those leads. His Wiggy lights up. His buddy, my helper at the time, Marty, he's got a Wiggy. He pulls his out. His lights up. They're standing on the roof next to a swamp cooler, but overhead is those wires, and their little probes are taking off and going bing, bing, bing. I got power, and I'm just sitting there thinking, and we're bathing ourselves in this. This is a terrible idea. Golly! A radioactive swamp of some kind. I don't know, maybe not radioactive, but radio frequency stuff. That's just, yeah. So anyway, I just kind of want to pass on my paranoia to you so that you can begin to wonder, hey, why does my hand hurt? Maybe that Mike guy had something going on, Well, this is the first I've heard of it. I haven't heard of anyone. And every time you look up on the Google Paradigm, or Analog, or whatever I think it's called, the Google platform, what happens is you Google, so I Googled something that looks like this: sore hands, cell phone use, whatever. And over and over again, repeatedly, they keep coming up with this idea of, you've seen these young kids and they're texting like this with their thumbs, like whack ball, woo, 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 and they're fast. I don't do that. But the repetitive motion can cause joint, ligament, tendon pain and stuff like that involved with muscles. And yeah, that's all interesting, but no, that's not what we're talking about. This is an entirely different phenomenon. And my hand was at rest except to hold a phone. That's all. And so I got to thinking, boy, I'm going to have to start wearing a... Oh, by the way, the young lady who I went to talk to about this, she agreed with me. So I know it's true. That this could be the beginning of a new conspiracy theory right here. And I want to take charge and claim the ownership of it in case somebody already else did. But I mean, these things got to come from somewhere, right? And so, when you have people and they're talking about their aches and their pains and stuff like that, I think one of the things I should begin to practice is to ask them, well, what changed? What do you mean, what changed? What's different in your life in the last... This never happened to you before. What changed? Let's do the diagnostics here. And so at any rate, I thought, I'm going to start hearing more about this, I think. Sore hands, sore joints, sore body. Where do you carry your cell phone? 1/8 of an inch away from my body. bad idea. So anyhow, my young friend there, she told me, I'm not going to tell you her name. She told me that there are cases, I guess, a fold-up phone case that blocks EM radiation. Maybe I'll do that. It'd be a real pain in the butt, but it might protect the phone, because I think what happened was I broke the screen, and then on the way into work that day, I stuck it in my back pocket again. Duh. And then when I sat down in the truck, I sat on it again, and I don't know how many times I'd done that. Well, there was apparently one time too many. So at any rate, I just wanted to kind of greet you and say happy September of the Two Tooth. And if you want to get on and listen to that sermon, UPC Las Cruces, I think, is the title of the site. Today's sermon was the September the 22nd, and the guy who's speaking is a guy named Bruce O'Neill. If you need to hear a solid biblical sermon, if you need to root back down a little bit into reality, listen to the guy. He talks true. It's good stuff. And so anyway, just to encourage you some, and I hope you have a good day. As our strength fails and Adam is slowly being killed day by day, the new man is being renewed. And so, as an old guy, I'm becoming quite an expert on the failure of strength. I can hardly believe how little endurance and stamina I have. And all this seems to have come on in just the last couple of years. And it's just like, I have not been paying attention. So I'm being a bad boy. I should actually be out walking or exercising or something. But I'm going to do a little bit of isometrics. Does that count? Over here, there's this little kid thing over here. Right in front of me. Where'd it go? Okay, all them monkey bar looking things, they're kind of hard to see. The contrast is not good. Well, anyway, looks better in person. And I use those ropes. They're all, it's for little kids to climb on and whatnot. Yep, they're with the blue background. You can see the roof. And so I'm going to work my arms and legs a little bit with some isos and do some stretching and stuff. But I'm frankly shocked at how fast my strength is failing me. But there we go again. That's what old guys talk about, right? I'm falling apart physically. I'd heard about this all my life, but being on the other side of it now, I'm beginning to think, oh, that's what they were talking about. You guys have a good day. God bless, and run to win. Remember, the gospel is good news. It encourages you. It welcomes you. It builds you up. It reminds you of the promise of God to love on you and to care for you forever. He's no liar. You guys have a good day, and God bless.